I'm Karin. Welcome to my world. I want to talk some more about past lives, or as I call them, other lives. What I see, how I've been using it, and why I call it other lives. But to explain that point, I need to talk about time. So I'll start with time. What is time? Um, It's one of the few things that we treat as a constant in this three-dimensional world that isn't constant at all. We don't talk about a mile or a kilometer being shorter or longer sometimes, but we do talk about time going fast or time going slow. So I feel that ought to tell us something. The thing is that time is only sort of linear in our three-dimensional world. Anything outside of our three dimensions, time is not linear. It's not a constant thing, and it doesn't behave like a constant. And really, it doesn't here either, but we try to make it behave as a constant with all the watches and clocks we have and everything we measure in time. Now, the way I see time, I have two images and they're not completely the same, which is probably because I have my three-dimensional brain and there's just a limitation to what I can understand. But one of the ways I look at time is instead of a straight line, I see like spirals. It's like time has many spirals and they cross and interact. And you can look back in time, you can look forward in time, you can look at parallel timelines, and all of that is because it's not really linear. In my world, we are souls that incarnate in bodies that we have chosen. I feel very connected to the work done by Michael Newton that he published under headlines like Life Between Life, where he regresses people, he puts them in a trance and have them talk about what it looked like when they died. So basically, after they died in a life, came back to their soul state, what happened then? And that they would meet with their soul groups and their guides, and they would go over, okay, so how did this life go? How did it work out according to the plans you had made and the goals you had? What needs tweaking? What do you want to work on next time? Including a process of choosing what life you were going to live next. Choosing your parents, choosing your circumstances, having a choice in all of this, which is a very different way from feeling that you are in a 3D body, you're a victim, and nothing you ever do is right or fair, or and everything that is bad happens to you. I truly believe we have a choice. This doesn't mean that the experience in 3D is not an overwhelming one, but I believe that we are on Earth to learn. Basically, that is why we're here. We're here to learn, to grow, to mature, to understand things. I don't believe any life is a punishment, because there's no punishment in education. There shouldn't be. To me, it's only about learning. To me, there are no right or wrong choices. There's just choice. And there's no good or bad experience. There's just experience. Because choice and experience helps you grow. What you do here on Earth, you have set up a script, a general script for the life you're heading into, what you want to work on, what you want to learn. But I also think we're people of free choice. I think it's always free choice. I feel there's never a completely set destiny that you could not avoid. I feel that even in the case where there's a 95% potential of you making a certain choice, there's still a 5% chance you won't. So lots of things can happen. One of the cases Michael Newton described in one of his books was two souls that met on the other side when they were back with being in bodies. And the one soul said to the other, "What are you doing here? We were supposed to be married." So, yeah, I know, but I kind of went and joined the Civil War and I got killed. Okay, try again. So to me, there's nothing linear about how we choose our lives. There's not necessarily anything linear in what we have decided to work on. There doesn't have to be any linear chronological extension of how you live your lives. I think it's more about what's the topic. You sit with your instructor, with your guide, and you say, okay, so what do you want to work on? You want to work on empathy. Okay, so what could help you learn more about empathy? Well, I could be a poor peasant that got kicked around and killed early by being overworked by a mean landlord, because that would really teach me what it would be like to be that person. Say, good, yep, sounds good. Here you go, pick a life. And you come back and you say, okay, that was tough. Well, okay, so that was interesting. I still want to work on empathy. Okay, so maybe this time you could be the landlord, and you could be the mean guy who kicks people around and kills them early. Sounds interesting. Yep, let me try that, because then I try the other angle. And you go and you have that life, and that was tough too. And maybe you do some other lives about empathy, and then you need a little break from empathy. And maybe you want to do compassion or whatever. So to me, the dying is the easy part. Living here is super hard, I think, for all of us. It's a huge challenge. I feel that we're Sims characters picking some kind of role, and we feel that it's real. To us, while we're in this body, it's absolutely real. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. If it wasn't convincing, we would be able to distance ourselves, and it wouldn't be the same experience, and we wouldn't learn as much. So that makes sense to me. So you have these choices, and you can pick any period of time you're interested in to learn more about the theme that you're working on. So it's not a progression of, okay, now I was in 1260 and now I have to go on to 1310. No, you can jump back and forth. And you can do whatever experience you feel would be relevant for you at this time. What happens that's really interesting is that all these lives are interconnected, and then this is where it's not a timeline. First of all, the lives are not chronological, and secondly, the time you spent in a life doesn't feel the same when you are not in a body. To me, this is a second image of time. To me, it's more like, remember, if you have a rug and it has loops in it, so you have a loop and you have another loop and you have another loop. And to me, this here represents the actual time outside of the body. And this is how we experience. It takes an awful long time. We have a whole life. But in reality, we used very little of our multi-D time. And the loops also overlap, and they interact, and they do all these things. And what you can do in lives, both in the life you're in, sometimes by making better choices than you had set yourself up to do. Sorry, now I use the word better. You can make choices that will change your experience to becoming a different one, and maybe one that will help you grow faster. Or you can go to other lives in trance, in regressions, in meditations, whatever, and you can actually heal them. That's part of the work I was doing as a regression therapist, is that you can be transported back to another life, back or forward. You can be transported to another life, and you have the opportunity to take the wisdom, the information, the experience of that other life, accept, so, okay, I get it now. And at the end of such a session, you are hovering above your body with a silver thread to it. So you are the soul leaving the body as the body is about to die, and there's just this thin silver thread connecting you. And if you're in a therapy session, the therapist will ask you, are you ready to cut the thread? And if you feel you're done with that life and you processed the information that you gained from that life, you can cut the thread. And in doing that, you're healing yourself. But you're also healing the life that you had. And with that, you can change your other lives and you can change the lives of other people. Now, there are more stories to this, and I will continue, but I'll be right back.